All right, guys, so I'm taking a look at the CFMoto 1000MT-X right here, newly released bike in this army green color. And let's take a look at the windshield. So it has a conventional windshield, very similar to what is on the 800MT that is right here. So the design is basically the same, just a few bigger measurements here. So, and I've already reviewed that bike on my channel, so you can take a look at it. But let's look at what this one is coming with. So you got this wraparound sort of air deflectors here made of plastic, similar to what's on the other bike. The headlamp is basically the same. You got the LEDs, so the design is the same, carried up forward from the 800MT. And then you have the off-road style mud guards here made of some nice plastics. And I've seen situations where people have been able to install, to pull them down and install that of the 400MT onto the lower part. So in these screw spaces here. And I'm sure you'll be able to do it on this one as well, but fingers crossed. So that if you don't like this style, you can use that style. And then we come down to these off-road tires coming from Pirelli. So it comes with 90 rim 21 tires with these knobbly tires for off-road. Obviously you can spec it to have on-road tires. You got some spoked wheels here as well. Wheels coming in black with double discs, and as you can see, the suspension travel on this one is really long. I'll put the measurements on the screen. KYB suspension right here. So if you look on the side, you have CFMoto badge in here. You have your LED turn signals, of course, and just like the 800MT, you got the tanks on the side, just like on the KTM 790. And if we look inside here, you got a curved radiator, which is protected by this very solid looking plastic. And down there, you will see two exhausts coming out, which tells you it's a twin. And then your mud guard for factory. It's not metal, it's plastic, but hard plastic. But I'm sure you can switch it to something strong enough for your liking. You get a reflector sitting here, and the gas tanks I already mentioned, coming in this camouflage sort of decals on the side. And we go on to this left hand side, and you have some foot pegs here, a very solid looking stand, and then your gear lever here, slipper clutch obviously, and then you got your electronics going on here. And if you look, you can see that all the bolts and nuts used are of very high quality, kind of like those that you have on BMW, so they are not going to strip easily. On the footrest, you have, it's rubberized, but you can take it off and expose your boots to these grips here, which are going to be very good for off-roading. And then you have rear foot pegs, very tactile for the rear passenger, sitting on some solid housing there. So as you can see, the frame is going up with this tube frame system, which is going to reduce the weight of the bike. Then we go on to our chain, very thick chain, going all the way and hooked onto this very thick sprocket. If I get close, you can see how thick the sprocket itself is. So quality keeps improving. And obviously Pirelli Scorpion Rally street tires here, and you can see it's got a knobblies on it. Now we go to the rear, and it's very similar to that on the 800. So you get a number plate placement area, your number plate lighting, your reflector here, and your turn signals there, and a brake light, very signature of CFMoto. Let's go on to the right hand side. So we got a blacked out exhaust here with your brand name in bronze color, and we come down here to the, obviously the grid also have spoked wheels, and they come in with this valve here, inflator valve here. I'm not sure why they didn't make it a curved design, because this is kind of hard to get to, unlike the other ones that they have. But if you look down here, it comes with Brembo brakes, single piston brake here with a disc, very thick looking disc, ABS of course, very nice looking bolts. I like the contrast in the black and the silver of the design of the insides of the adjustments on the swing arm. Then you got your cables neatly arranged running on top of the swing arm. So for your speedometer, your ABS, and your brake liner. And if we go on to the right hand side, We have obviously a foot peg here, and then you have your rear brake fluid reservoir, and then you have your foot peg here and your brake lever here. So the brake lever feels very solid, and it's got this bracket here to stop your feet from touching the exhaust because it's really close to the exhaust. You got your glass here to see your oil levels, and then you got your engine block blacked out here, and this is where you open to refill your oil for your engine. You got your bike information plate here, all looking very open and easy to manage because it's got lots of openings, so servicing this bike is not going to be as complicated. And then you got your rear spring in there looking very thick, and it's adjustable as well, but it's not electronic. You need a screwdriver to do it from here, but the way it's angled out, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to do it. So as I mentioned, it's hard to adjust the suspension from that side, but there is a quick adjustment here made for adjusting the rear suspension. So as you can see, this is the rotor which connects to the system here to help you adjust the rear suspension. So that's really cool that they have it because it's really hard to adjust from the other side, and I like how they place it intelligently here. So hard and soft as indicated here. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly, but the provision has been made, and it's interesting that they don't have anything covering it here, but I'm sure they've done their homework and they know that debris or mud is not going to disrupt the operation of this adjustment here. And then we go on forward and we come down to another tank, right hand side of the tank, and down here you can see your coolant here, so it's exposed. You can actually see easily your levels from this side, and it comes with double brakes as well, also coming from Brembo. You get to the top here, so you have a rear carrier. It doesn't indicate how much weight you can put on it, but obviously as known by CFMoto, you can install, you can see provision made for installing panniers, so you can spec that as well, or you can do it aftermarket if you want. I'm sure this will carry up to about 5 kilograms as it does on many bikes. And we look at the seat. It is a bench style seat, but it's got this cutout here and it slopes towards the end, and then it has a relatively nice size for the rear passenger. It's not very wide as it is on many other bikes such as Japanese bikes, but I'm sure for average people it's going to be fine for rear passengers. And we go to the front and we have some plastics here, and oh, it feels quite light to move it around. Signature, very typical of CFMoto. So the tank lid design is the same. It's not keyless. You need a key to undo it, but the cover feels very solid and very tactile. Here you have a stabilizer, which is something interesting. Normally stabilizers will be hidden underneath, but this one is right up here. So if you're installing a tank bag, I'm not sure if it's going to be intrusive, but if they're putting it here, then CFMoto is definitely has its own design of tank bag that you can install here. That will not be intrusive, but it's just interesting that it's sitting here. And as you can see, the stabilizer itself is a little wobbly, but I'm sure it's done to give it some allowance. And then we look to the left hand side. You got your regular mirror, you got your clutch lever. So basically standard controls just as we have on other CFMoto bikes. You got your horn, you got your turn signal, which feels very tactile. You got your direction buttons, you got your push to activate voice activation here. You got your mode button here, your function button, got cruise control here, so on, and then you push to off, and this to adjust your speed. It's all very standard. And then you have your flash to pass button. And if we go to the right hand side, you get your hazard button, obviously, and then you get your start stop button here, and nothing here. And then you get your accelerator, and then you get your front brake here, and a conventional mirror. So these mirrors are adjustable, so you can move them out of the way. And then you come here, you get your front brake reservoir, and it's not keyless, so you still need to insert a key here. This one is parked in the showroom, and it doesn't have a battery installed, so I can't turn on the ignition, but I'll put a short footage of the ignition on one of customer's bike. On the screen right about now. So let's continue here with the suspension. So front suspension is adjustable, fully adjustable, but you need screwdrivers to do that on both sides. And then you also have a USB charging ports here. So if you open it up, you're going to have two USB charging ports. So there's a type A charging port and a type C charging port here. And overall, the front looks very similar to that of the 800MT, which I've talked about before. But this tank is 22.5 liters capacity. And if we look at the overall design, like I've already mentioned, is very similar. So this one adjusts your windshield for height and high-low. And overall, it looks very similar to the 800MT. So not too much has changed, just a few parameters are bigger, and the engine is obviously very more powerful than the 800MT. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, kindly give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can grow it together. Till I see you in the next video guys, ride legal, ride safe always. Peace and I'm out.